Attractions in Parkville. Look at the vertical y-axis on the left. It shows us what is being measured, the number of visitors, and what the unit is, thousands. So 600 means 600,000, and 1,000 means a million. Next, look along the bottom at the horizontal x-axis. It shows the years over which the data was collected. What does each of the lines on the graph represent? Look at what's written on the right. 5 attractions in Parkville. Look at the trends first, not the specifics. What jumps out at us at first glance, in the first 10 seconds? The National Gallery is by far the most popular attraction for most of the period. The museum's visitor numbers have stayed much the same. Those two trends are immediately obvious and are enough for our first impression of the data in the graph. It gives us somewhere to start from. We can also see that there is no overall upward or downward trend. Each of the 5 attractions has experienced different changes. This is good for us as it gives us plenty to write about. Let's analyze. In our plan, we're going to identify the key information, particularly the changes or trends that appear between the years listed, that is, from 1996 through to 2016. Feel free to write your plan now. I recommend taking 2 minutes to do it on test day. Let's are some key points. The National Gallery and also the Indigenous Art Center numbers went up. There was not much change for the museum. Numbers for the aquarium and zoo went down. Fewer people visited. So we can utilize our time best by following a set structure. We start by writing an introduction. Here, we reword the summary. This is an efficient and effective way to begin. Next, we give an overview of the key points, which we have already identified, and then we go on to present and highlight the key features using numbers and percentages. Let's start with the introduction. Here's the summary. The line graph shows visitor numbers to 5 attractions in the city of Parkville from 1996 to 2016. For the introduction, you need to rewrite the summary in your own words. This is a quick process. You don't need to change it much, just show that you understand it and you can use synonyms and rephrasing to convey the same information. Feel free to pause the video and write your introduction now. On test day, we recommend spending about 2 minutes on this. You can get access to more Task 1 prompts, which you can submit to our teachers for feedback if you want. It is. The graph compares the number of people who visited 5 attractions in Parkville City between 1996 and 2016. Notice how we've changed shows to compares, visitor numbers to the number of people who visited, and instead of using the prepositions from and to with the years, we've used between 1996 and 2016. These are quick, effective changes that you can use with any question. Time for the overview. Because we've already had a quick yet effective look at the graph, this will be straightforward. You don't need to go into detail, but start with the biggest things that you notice and write them down. Typically, start with the word overall, and then if you notice that one data point changes a lot, or if one data point is consistently the biggest, that's a good place to start. Write that down. I recommend taking some time to write your overview now. On test day, you shouldn't take any longer than 5 minutes. Here it is. Overall, the National Gallery was by far the most popular venue after 2000, although the Indigenous Art Museum also saw a rise in visitor numbers. We've expressed our main points clearly using a complex sentence. The second sentence also links 2 key ideas. While fewer people went to the aquarium and zoo over the 2 decades, museum attendance remained fairly stable. Did you notice that the sample mentioned all 5 of the attractions? Now that the introduction and the overview are written, it's now time to write about the key features. This is where we drill down, go into detail, and include data, another very important requirement for a good score. Write about the key features now. I recommend taking up to 10 minutes to do this on test day. It is. The sample has begun by describing the situation at the start of the period. In 1996, the aquarium was the main attraction, with over 500,000 people coming through the doors. This is one way to start. The sample has identified similarities, places on the graph where the lines were close together, and importantly, it has included numbers. Words and phrases like approximately, around, roughly, slightly under, and just over are really good in this context. This next complex sentence is terrific. It includes a lot of detail and is well constructed with its clauses linked using conjunctions and ing forms. This is the sort of sentence that'll get you a good score. It's followed by a shorter, high-impact sentence with some great vocabulary. This is the second paragraph describing the key features. Meanwhile, over the period shown, aquarium attendance plummeted by about 400,000. Again, we have detail and numerical data. The next sentence contrasts and links data about two different attractions. This is skillful use of language. There may not be time for a concluding, summarizing sentence. That's fine. There is no real need, but take care not to finish too abruptly. This sentence is good. It rounds off the response with a straightforward description of the last of the 5 attractions. Version of the official band descriptors. It's a really good document to get to know as it tells you exactly what you have to do to achieve each band score in each category. There's a lot of information on that page, so we've reduced it down into a more user-friendly summary. Let's look at task achievement first. Did the sample fully answer the question? Did the sample present a clear overview? Yes. Were all elements mentioned, all 5 tourist attractions? Yes, they were. The sample highlighted each key feature. The sample included lots of data and incorporated it skillfully into our sentences. And the sample interpreted the graph accurately. Excellent. Was the sample coherent, easy to understand, and was it cohesive? Were the sample's ideas linked together well? Let's check for this. There was logical flow and the sample used paragraphs well. Did the sample use a range of linking devices appropriately? Here are some really good linking devices that can be used to compare, contrast, and sequence out observations. Anything that sticks your sentences and clauses together is good. Using relative pronouns and referring pronouns like them and it is a great way to avoid repetition. Do a range of linking devices in the sample's response. They are highlighted here. Moving on from task achievement and coherence and cohesion to look at the use of language in our essay, let's check first for the range, accuracy, and appropriate use of vocabulary known as lexical resource. The range of words and expressions used is highlighted here. Also, the vocabulary has been used precisely and spelled correctly. All of these things contribute to achieving a good score. Let's look at grammatical range and accuracy. The sample used a good range of structures, including comparatives like fewer and superlatives like by far the most. The sample used compound sentences, where ideas are linked with a variety of conjunctions like and other linking devices such as relative clauses introduced by relative pronouns like who, which, and that, and participle clauses in these examples using ing forms after a comma to link clauses within a sentence. The highlighting here shows a good balance of complex and simple structures. Long sentences like these are good when they are well controlled, but don't use long sentences all the time. Balance them with shorter, simple sentences too. The grammar used is accurate and so is the punctuation. Be ambitious with grammar, but not too ambitious. It's the same with vocabulary. Response in its entirety. I'm sure yours looks similar. Don't forget, there is no one right answer. Remember, the prompt on test day will likely be different to this task, so you'll need as much practice as you can get. Here's the task. You recently purchased an internet service for your house, but you are not satisfied with it. You have complained to the customer help desk on the phone, but no action has been taken. Write a letter to the manager of the company. In your letter, describe what is wrong with the service, explain why you are not happy with the company's response, say what action you want the manager to take. So, while you read carefully, you can make brief notes for each of the 3 bullet points, or you can underline or highlight the key words. This will keep you on track. Feel free to write your own notes for the task now. I recommend spending up to 2 minutes writing your notes on test day. No matter the topic of the letter, it's better to always follow the structure. This is a good guide. Every letter starts with a greeting and an introduction, like a subject line in an email that clearly states our purpose for writing. We have a body paragraph for each of the 3 parts of the task. We respond to the 3 bullet points in the question. However, we don't write bullet points in our letter. Finally, we usually finish with a closing sentence, and we always sign off appropriately with our name. When you're writing, it's important to keep the marking criteria in mind. This is a straightforward checklist based on the official band descriptors. If you do all of these things, you're guaranteed to get a good score. Use some of these in your letter and complex sentences will appear. The conjunctions like after, even though, and because will help you to express more complex ideas and show how they relate to each other. For example, we can write, after I reported the damage, I almost immediately received a call from customer support. Or, even though I was happy with your prompt response, your representative did not really answer any of my questions. We can also use relative pronouns. These will allow you to describe people and situations more clearly. As in, the man who called back seemed impatient and unwilling to listen to me. And I asked him where I might be able to locate the repair instructions online. Let's look at the greeting first. The greeting is easy. The question will tell you how to start. It may say, "Dear," and leave space for you to fill in a name. It may say, "Dear Sir," or "Dear Madam." There isn't much to think about. After the greeting, you write your introduction and purpose. This is where you write an introductory sentence that states your purpose for writing. With a formal letter, we always start with, "I am writing to," and we use one of these phrases. Feel free to pause the video and write your letter greeting, introduction, and purpose now. I recommend taking 2 minutes to do this on test day. The greeting starts off with "Dear Sir" or "Madam." It starts like this because the task doesn't give a name for the recipient of the letter. Then there's the introductory and purpose statement. I am writing with regard to the internet service I bought from your company 2 weeks ago. As we can see with this sample, we used a formal tone by using words like "with regard to." "With regard to" is just a formal way of saying "about." Okay, now it's time to write the first body paragraph of your letter. Remember, in the first body paragraph, you need to address the first bullet point of the task description. For this task, the first bullet point was, describe what is wrong with the service. Remember, there is no one right way to compose your letter. Everyone will have different ideas. You need to use your ideas and your words. Use the structure and you'll be fine. Feel free to write your first body paragraph now. I recommend taking 4 minutes to do this on test day. There are major issues with the download speed, which is much slower than is promised in the contract I signed. I have tested it every day since the installation, and the fastest it has been is 25 megabytes per second compared to the minimum of 50 megabytes per second this package is supposed to give. Since I rely on the connection for my work, this is not only costing me time, but also money. So, as you can see, the sample begins by stating the main problem, the issues with the speed. Then it explains the problem in detail, and I like how the sample shows that they actually tried to make sure that their complaint was legitimate. They tested the speed. And I like how the paragraph ends by highlighting why it is a problem. Okay, we've now finished writing body paragraph 1. Let's now write body paragraphs 2 and 3 and a suitable ending. In body paragraph 2, you should explain why you're not happy with the company's response. Use your imagination. And in body paragraph 3, you need to say what action you want the manager to take. And remember, don't forget to end the letter and sign off. You're now ready to write your second and third body paragraph and your ending. Feel free to do it now. I recommend taking around 4 minutes to write each body paragraph on test day. Here it is. I have now phoned the technical support line 4 times. Despite being told on each occasion that the problem would be fixed within an hour, there has been no change. When I pointed this out during my last call, the customer representative was quite rude and accused me of lying. This is great. So the sample explains how they tried to solve the problem and how the problem ultimately was not solved, and then it ends by showing how the writer felt. It's good to give details like this that add an emotional quality. Rude and accuse me of lying. So remember, the more you develop the ideas and details during the planning stage, the more opportunity there will be for complex grammar and vocab when you start writing. I would like you to do two things. The first, obviously, is to please rectify the problem with the internet speed immediately and inform me upon completion. Secondly, please review your customer service standards as they are in danger of costing you your reputation and clients. I love the sample here. It starts with a clear statement. I would like you to do two things. Then it tells you what those things are. Easy. Here it is. I look forward to hearing from you as soon as you have received my letter. Yours faithfully, Leslie James. Great. The ending is formal and polite, followed by the sign-off and name. It's now time to evaluate the letter against the writing criteria. Let's see if the sample letter meets the criteria, starting with task achievement. First, the sample presented a clear purpose for writing the letter. The sample presented and extended each bullet point. Extended means we wrote more than the bare minimum. We imagined a situation and used a range of language to describe it. The tone was appropriate. In the case of this letter, it was businesslike and formal. And it included only relevant information. It is important to stay on topic. It would be weird to mention the weather or what you did on the weekend. So, that's task achievement. Basically, the sample answered the question fully and appropriately, and also, was the sample letter long enough? More than 150 words? Yes, it was. Time to look at coherence and cohesion. Was the letter easy to understand and follow? It followed the E2 structure, which meant it used paragraphs well and the information was organized logically. Did the sample letter include a range of linking devices appropriately? Yes. So here are some linking devices. They connect our writing, making our ideas flow naturally and logically, and they help us to form complex sentences. Some of them are easier words like but, and so. But there are also expressions like because and not to mention, as well as reference words like this and which. These words help make the ideas in your writing flow clearly from one to the next. Be sure to use them effectively. Here are some examples highlighted in the sample letter. There are plenty and they're used appropriately. Let's turn our attention towards the use of language. Did the sample include a wide range of vocabulary and grammar, and was it used accurately? Yes. Vocabulary was used precisely and it was done with correct spelling. This all counts towards the overall score. Turning now to grammar. To score well, we need to have used both simple structures and some compound structures, more complex sentences that link 2 or 3 clauses together effectively. We should also use some relative clauses, like the ones highlighted here, and a variety of tenses as appropriate to the requirements of the task. This letter here has included a good number of complex structures. It also includes accurate